Could I ask you, firstly, where and when you were born?
Yeah, Frank, I was born in 1957. I've been born in Sydney and been a resident of Sydney for all those years.
Right, and where was that, in which part of Sydney?
Grew up in my early years in Auburn and went to junior school at Barella Primary School, but then we moved with my parents to North Rocks and went to James Roos Agricultural High School when I was a teenager.
Well, you were very lucky to get into that school. I believe it's difficult.
It's a selective school, yeah. It was in the years that I went there. It's a good school. Gives you a broad-ranging education career.
What sort of memories do you have of that period?
James Roos, as a selective school, we did agriculture. So we learned a bit about farming and land there, but it was good. We actually had inter-school visits and went to Tamworth.
So what's your present position with Landcom then?
I have a number of roles at Landcom. I operate loosely under the term of a development director, and so the development that I'm helping direct is the RouseHill project at the NewRouseHill. But I also, because of my background, provide general town planning advice to all Landcom staff on the projects that they're working on. I'm also in charge of the sustainability and policy unit at Landcom, so we're looking to always increase the sustainability elements of our projects, and so my team and myself provide, again, across Landcom support to the various other project teams on sustainability initiatives that they could be able to employ.
Now, you spent 10 years with Blacktown Council before you have your present position, of course. Yeah. What were the challenges in your job there?
Blacktown Council was a really interesting place to work at. It was a very diverse...
What kind of roles have you played at Lend-Lease?
I've started in what would be the traditional Lend-Lease approach, which is very much you start the junior people out on site, exposed to the hard school of construction management, dealing with a lot of the individual subcontractors, managing packages of work, be it concrete or signage or carpentry, those sorts of things, and then gradually just worked my way up within each one of the construction projects on larger and larger construction projects, with sort of, I guess, more and more senior roles within those. That's probably culminated in the project management role of the Olympic Village in Sydney for the 2000 Games, responsible for all of the things specific for the athletes. So the main dining tent, which, whilst being a tent, it was some 14,000 square metres, with the ability to serve 20,000 meals a day.
Okay, I guess it wouldn't have been too badly a change for you, I suppose, from South Africa. Things weren't that bad, were they, here?
Oh no, I shouldn't be making out that it was bad. It was a wonderful place to arrive, and we spent a lot of time at the beach in our early years. Coming from Johannesburg, which is 600 kilometres from the sea, we thought our worlds had all arrived at once. Being able to go to the beach after school, it was like an idyllic place to live.
Okay, great. Did you play any sports at school?
Played cricket, rugby, and I was a much better swimmer than I was a cricket or rugby player.
All right, okay. Now, after you getting to your later years in high school, did you have any idea yet what sort of direction you might want to go? Okay, Nick, for people who want to know a little bit about your background, can you tell us when and where you were born first?
I was born in Sydney, and I grew up in Moralia, just outside RouseHill, on a small 35-acre block with my rest of my family. We've got there's 5 boys in the family and 2 girls. That was a big family, just living on a block of land out there. Grew up on a farm with lots of animals out there, and went through school. Went to a local school at Castle Hill, Oak Hill College, and then from Oak Hill worked for a couple of years, and then eventually went to university at Hawkesbury and did a construction management course out there.
Right. When you were living on the farm where you grew up, what sort of animals were there? What sort of activities did the family engage in? After you finished your schooling, did you go straight on the land, or did you work?
No, I went straight to Hawkesbury College.
The agricultural
college. And I had finished my degree. I got a diploma from there. And then I spent about 3 years just mucking around the bush, driving bulldozers, driving headers, working the land and any job I could find. Harvesting, all these sort of things. I got my wool classing ticket. So I became a wool classer. I did the wool classing sheds. Did 3 years of that just to find out how the other people live, sort of thing, what happened, what else happens.
That was a very interesting world, wasn't it, the shearers' world?
Very much so. Very much so. And a fascinating world. Fascinating world. Different nowadays. It's a whole new...
So you must have travelled around, New South Wales or Queensland?
Mostly New South Wales. Mostly New South Wales. Done most of Queensland. I know Queensland like the back of my hand now. Victoria I don't know much about, Western Australia and those places, but New South Wales and Queensland I have a pretty fair idea about.
Right. So what age did you marry, Bob?
27 when I got married, and I reckon that was about 3 years before I should have. I had 3 years good playing around left in me, I thought.
Right. Where was that when you were married? Where were you?
We were married here in Clara.
Huh? Right.
Clara.
Now, tell me how it happened that you finished up living at Mungdree House.
Well, my father had been looking for a place. Well, I'd looked at about 5 farms to buy them before I looked at this